Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Tonight, I'm going to be reacting to Did Confederate Soldiers Fight for Slavery? Made on the YouTube channel Atun-Shei Films under the playlist Checkmate Lincolnites. Yes, I've reacted to the first video on the playlist. What was it called again? Confederate Destroys Yankee with Facts and Logic. Yes, if you guys want to check out that reaction, remember the playlist card is going to be at the top here. Just click on it and you'll be able to access them. If you want to check out the original video as well as Atun-Shei Films YouTube channel, the links are in the description below. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, didn't I kill you in the last episode? No, sir, I do not believe so.
Oh, yes, he did. I remember. I think like he shot you like 2 times or 3 times in the chest. Yeah, he killed you. What do you... No. Well, you guys look different now. Yeah, you guys look different. And where are your glasses?
Pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure I shot you through the body until you were dead.
Previously on Checkmate Lincolnites.
No, that must have been some other Confederate officer.
Yeah, I think it was another Confederate officer. I mean, you look different. The beard, the hair, you too. Yeah.
Is that a blood-stained uniform lying at your feet? Checkmate, Lincolnites! The program where we stoutly defend the South against those who would besmirch her. Like the brave boys at Fredericksburg, we shall stand for... Fredericksburg! Oh, sorry. Too soon, I guess. Sir, I have invited you here because you have called the excellent film Gods and Generals a piece of propaganda.
Gods and Generals. Okay. Wait, let me write that down. Let me see. I want to check out that movie for myself. Gods and Generals. Alright.
Is propaganda. No, it's not, and I say that as a Latino. It's just like Gettysburg. It doesn't have bias approach. It's respectful to both sides. So do us a favor and shut up. Come on, man, you're making this so easy. Give me some of the challenging comments, you know? Bring out the big guns. It's okay, I can take it. It's funny when snot-nosed, green behind the ear, force-fed warm bullshit college boys such as yourself just regurgitate all the totally false narratives you learned. You, sir, are a syphilis-infested crotch goblin and deserve to be eaten alive by pygmy ants. God save the South!
What? Wait, guys, let's see this properly. Oh gosh. Where was it? Phosphate warm BS from college kids like yourself. Just regurgitate all the totally false narratives you learned. You, sir, are a syphilis-infested crotch goblin. What? And deserve to be eaten alive by pregnant ants. Okay, wow. Who says these kind of things, really? Like, are there people out there who actually talk like this? Wow. I wouldn't know how to respond. I would still be dumbfounded, really.
Man, you know what? That's actually completely true. Gods and Generals is a historically accurate film. You're just angry because it isn't a communist, leftist, anti-Southern propaganda film. You leftist scum try to rewrite history to fit into your anti-American narrative.
Okay, so Gods and Generals is trying to portray the American Civil War in a different light, in a very favoring manner towards the Confederates. Is that why they're saying these things? Okay, interesting. So
criticizing the Confederacy is anti-American? Yes. Okay, well, my question that I have for you, sir, is what planet are you living on? Gods and Generals isn't just historically inaccurate and horribly offensive, it also does a terrible job of simply representing humanity. Nobody could be that perfect and flawless and pious and awesome all of the time. You know what movie I want to see? I want to see a movie that has a scene where Stonewall Jackson sits on the toilet and takes a huge crap. That's humanity. How dare you speak of the general releasing his bowels? This perspective is so biased. Yes, slavery was in the mix, but South really complex. And not ever Southern Red fought for slavery. Hell, even Confederate generals were against the practice. So do a big homeworks on it. That's a lie.
Is that true? Oh, wait, let's continue.
Most Confederate generals absolutely approved of slavery, and your average Confederate soldier knowingly fought to preserve it. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. No, they did not. 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 No,
Yes, they did not. They did not. They did not.
Yes, they did.
No, no, they did not. So they did not.
They did not, sir.
Yes,
no,
they did.
no,
Yes, they did.
no,
Yes, they did.
no.
Can't agree with YouTube videos calling the South then all evil. I can't see why anyone would pick up a rifle to defend the high-class society ownership of slaves. That don't make no sense. The so-called lost cause agenda, however, does. That's just...
But Garrett, during those times, that's how people thought. As backward as it may be, to us now in our present time and, barbaric. But that's how people thought. That's how things were during those times. Literally, if you had a time machine to go back in that time, you would not be able to understand, their thought process. You would probably see them as aliens or as barbarians or something like that, just because of the way they perpetuated this culture, this slavery industry, and how they would try to justify it, even using war, to defend their way of life, by having slavery. So yeah, in your present time, you can't understand why would people fight for slavery, but I tell you now, those people during that time, they had the firmest belief in what they're doing, and yeah, that's just what happens with history,
You can't comprehend, as a 21st century person, from your point of view, why someone would take up arms and knowingly defend slavery.
Yeah, he's saying it better than me. He's explaining it far better than me. Yes, thank you.
And yet, that is exactly what Confederate soldiers did. To understand why, you've got to just let go of the benefit of hindsight for a second and look at the politics of the 1860s from the Southern point of view. I don't give a rat's ass about them rich Southern politicians whose aims were to preserve slavery. They should have been hanged. But the common soldier didn't give a shit about slaves or slavery. They were too poor. Yeah.
So then what were they fighting for? If they were not fighting for the institution of slavery to continue, what were they fighting for? What were they destroying infrastructure, killing people for? And getting themselves killed as well. What was this all for?
Here's the thing, and I know you're not going to want to hear this, but they did give a shit. Multiple books have been written about this topic. Yeah, Confederate soldiers went to war for a variety of reasons. Were they defending their homes and families from invasion? Yes, but they also believed that preserving slavery was in the Confederacy's best interest. It was widely believed that emancipation would lead to servile insurrection, basically a race war. Did you know that volunteers in the Army of Northern Virginia were about 40% more likely to own slaves than the rest of the Southern population? Don't you think that's a little bit telling?
President Lincoln, in his first inaugural, by that time 8 states had seceded from the Union, and Lincoln had a promise for them. He said, I have no purpose, directly or indirectly, to interfere with the institution of slavery where it currently exists.
We're not talking about President Lincoln. We're talking about your great-grandpappy, the average Confederate soldier.
Look at that face. Oh gosh.
A quote. This is Confederate cavalryman Frank Myers, registering his oath of allegiance to the Union in 1867. This is directly from his diary. Registered. That means swore to be a liar, fool, villain, and ain't white anymore, ain't honest anymore. And registered as loyal to the United States, and no honest, honorable, sensible, decent white man can be that. It's a common theme that you see in the writings of surrendering Confederates. They felt like they weren't white anymore.
Look up the moral tariff.
Late in the war, when Confederates were debating amongst themselves whether to enlist slaves in the army, Private Joseph Maids wrote, I did not volunteer my services to fight for a free Negro's free country, but for a free man's free country. And I do not think I love my country well enough to fight with black soldiers.
Well, what about them northern states? What about the northern
That
states?
sounds like someone who's very concerned with states' rights, don't you think? Here's another one. This is from General James Longstreet, talking to his men after General Benjamin Butler refused to return fugitive slaves to Southern masters. Here's what he has to say.
I don't want to hear.
Already has the hatred of one of their great leaders attempted to make the Negro your equal by declaring his freedom. They care not for the blood of babes, nor carnage of innocent women, which servile insurrection thus stirred up may bring upon their heads.
You been saying, son?
Imagine how silly former Confederates must have felt after the 13th Amendment was passed and that didn't happen. It was a doomsday prophecy that just didn't come true. So, of course, they had to undergo all sorts of mental gymnastics to prove that the last 4 years of horrendous violence meant something, anything. So they started convincing themselves that, oh no, we didn't fight just for slavery. I mean, that was just a tiny little part of this bigger issue of states' rights that's gone all the way back to the founding of the country. But even this lie doesn't jive with the political actions of ex-Confederates during Reconstruction, when they fought tooth and nail to stop the progress of civil rights in this country.
Silly Bolshevik tricks like this are amateurish. Why don't you address John Brown or that genocidal maniac Sherman? Why didn't the North just let the South live in peace? Why?
Look, I know it's hard to hear that your great-grandpappy was all in for slave labor. It's a bummer, even taking into account his reasons for believing that, and to him, they were good reasons. You don't want to think of him that way. You want to think of him as this heroic defender of hearth and home, not as an enthusiastic foot soldier in the slaver's army. But the truth is, he was both. He was a complicated, flawed human being, just like you or me. Now all the great-grandpappies are in the ground, and they've been moldering there for more than 100 years. If you could go back in time and meet them, their beliefs would have horrified you.
Exactly what I was saying. If you had a time machine and you would go back into those times, you would not recognize these people. You would not understand them. Their thinking process would be so far beyond, not even beyond, I mean like backward to you, that you would consider them to be primitive or alien in their thought process. So yeah, you just wouldn't recognize these people. These people who you try to idolize and make into heroes and heroines of your Confederacy, trying to fight for their own independence of the southern states. It's just not what you think it is. Romanticizing, this type of governance structure, having slavery. No, guys, no.
These long-dead racists are not your friends. You have nothing in common with them. What they stood for was evil, and everybody seems to know it, but you.
And until you guys reconcile that fact, you really shouldn't be surprised that you're being criticized.
Okay, guys, that is it with Did Confederate Soldiers Fight for Slavery, made on the Atun-Shei Films YouTube channel. People who try to romanticize their ancestors, how they would fight for their way of life against the national government. yeah, I have to just revert back to my own country as well, where we also have people out here who, try to romanticize the past, try to justify it, try to say that, our races can't be together. We need to be separate. We need to have our identities secured and maintained, and we should not be mixing with each other because that will dilute our history, it will dilute our cultures, it will dilute our people, and they would try to romanticize the past, they would try to justify the past, and they would try to make all of these stories up. I don't even know where do they get them, where they would think that there's going to be a race war if the freedom of black South Africans were to come into fruition, and just like with what happened here with the American Civil War, where there were white people who thought that if the emancipation of black people came into fruition, there's going to be some sort of revolt, and there's going to be a race war happening. I don't know why do people, or where do people get these things, these thoughts? Who churns up these emotions into you? Who gives you these ideas, thinking that there's going to be some sort of retaliation? Because really, in South Africa, it took a long time for us to get to where we were, and we were not going to just throw it away because we wanted revenge on those who hurt black South Africans. We're not going to just throw away this country, burn it to the ground, kill any white person we saw on the street. We're not going to do that. And the sad thing is that there's still people who think like that. There's still people who think that there is a white genocide happening in South Africa because black South Africans, want to retaliate against them. I don't know where do they get this thought in their minds. I don't understand that. I honestly don't understand that. And yeah, it's just going to be a very long process of having these people to unlearn this fear that they have in their minds. It will take a very long time. And because, like I've said before, racism is intergenerational. It is passed down from one family member to the next family member, and so on and so forth. And it takes time to destroy something like that. And yeah. But this Gods and Generals movie, I think I will take it up. I will see it for myself and see what's going on in it. Yeah, maybe. Like if it's on Netflix or if it's on Netflix, I will watch it. But if I have to find it through other means, it will take time and I'll get to it. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it. That's it for tonight with Atun-Shei Films. Remember, if you want to check out the original video as well as Atun-Shei Films YouTube channel, the links are in the description below. If you like my reaction, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos. And I will see you guys next week, Tuesday. Okay? Good night.